Ok. Ah, però c'è l'audio che non funziona. Forse qualche connessione lì che non va. Pensavo c'era un gioco. Ecco, non riesco. Grazie, Gabri. Anna. Eccole,
Ecco,
infatti non le sento.
mi senti?
Allora, voi parlate che così io vedo se...
Ehi, ciao,
Ecco, ciao.
come stai?
Benino, diciamo.
Mm,
Mi sono beccata il
Ciao.
Covid.
pure io.
Ah,
Guarda
ecco.
qua
Sì,
direttamente.
addirittura.
Allora
Facciamo,
eravamo tutti
Bene.
che non volevamo mancare all'appuntamento così e io mi sono scansata i consigli di classe per poter
hai
partecipare qui.
visto? Brava.
Ma tu lo sai, Anesa,
Ah?
che hai salvato la lezione a tutti,
Sì.
perché io mi ero addormentata.
Ah!
Ah.
Mi sono dovuta beccare il Covid per fare...
Okay.
Bella.
Vabbè.
I'm sorry. 1 minute late. But for me to be punctual is
Beh, ma
something
ti avremmo
I
svegliato,
can't
Paola, non c'è problema.
Ok, l'audio, vabbè. Provo a chiudere alcune applicazioni, sono tutte chiuse. No, parlo con il mio computer, non vi preoccupate. Abbiamo un rapporto molto intimo. Ok, può darsi. Io l'ho staccato adesso, però senti, questo quando ho attaccato? È un
Anna
jack.
Maria, tu come stai?
Bene, sono stata molto male un giorno e mezzo, ma proprio male, male, male con le ossa.
Anche io c'è
Dolori
stata una
fortissimi.
notte, sì,
Tutto il
dolore.
giorno, sì, dolori fortissimi alla colonna, non uscivo a San Piedi, mi trascinavo, me lagnavo proprio. Un giorno e mezzo, due. Terzo, fiacca da morire. Quarto, benissimo. Oggi pure, bella forte. Sono andata pure a camminare presto con la mascherina, anche perché
Ah,
io sto in campagna e ci
ecco.
vuole poco ad arrivare. Cioè, ho la pista ciclabile e sto subito in campagna. E quindi sono andata a camminare ieri in bicicletta, ieri pomeriggio. Bella forte, insomma, è ritornata una bella forza. Tu appetito?
Sì, vabbè, quello non mi manca mai purtroppo.
Anche tu,
No, mi era
Annalisa,
mancato a me
Covid?
2 giorni.
Sì, sì, per questo ho detto una scusa mi dovevo inventare per non riprendere in presente i
Ah!
consigli. E
Ma
allora
pensa, per cui siete
quella
che...
più credibile.
Neanche a dire che ce lo possiamo essere trasmesso che
Le
siamo
due
tutti
Anne,
online.
No.
Annalisa.
Eh, niente, no? Non va.
Vabbè.
No? Eccolo.
Sì.
Eccolo, sì. Adesso attenzione perché farà rumore. Ok, aspetta. Ecco, ok, perfetto.
Fa caldo
Ho anche il
lì da
tecnico
voi.
oggi. Parlate per favore.
Ecco, ci
Sì,
senti?
ci
Ok.
siamo?
Si
Direi.
sente? Ok.
Ho avuto anche il tecnico, una eccellente tecnica del suono. Thank you,
Ah, brava.
Gabriella. Se non ci
Brava
capisce lei con
Gabri.
queste cose, meno male. Ok, let me open the book.
Senti?
Ah, adesso now breathe, breathe, breathe. Okay. Because I was going home. I had just an hour and a half for lunch. And so there was a thriller on TV. So I was there, it was the last episode of the thriller. But I made a big mistake. I didn't stay sitting down, but I lie on the sofa. And then immediately, bang! So I was waking up from Annalisa's message, and they
Ciao.
say, "Is she?
Ciao.
Yeah, she's the killer." She said. I said, "No, but she's the killer." No. Okay, let's open our book. So, did you have you had the occasion of looking at
Ma voi
the
mi sentite?
Sì, Anna?
Sì,
Sì,
Mi
molto
sentite?
bene.
Sì.
Here.
Ok.
sì.
Sì.
What's happening to you?
No, no,
Tu ci
it's
senti,
okay.
Anna?
It's okay.
Yeah.
Ok.
Sì, sì. Sì, sì.
Ok.
Ok, ok.
Ok. Vai.
Allora,
Go.
go, let's go, let's go.
Let's go. Let's
Okay.
go.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay. Oops. Coffee. Let me do this. Okay. Phobias. Phobias, actually. Phobias.
Mm.
And words related to fear. Let's just listen to it. Okay. Now look at these pictures. We are going to see the present perfect plus for and sis, but just after. And then we start to do a bit of vocabulary of this word that I'm going to share into you to let you drill the part, because you know all the words that are coming from Greek usually they have a strange pronunciation, like the word, for example, that they are starting with P and S, like psychology, where the P is always silent, like psycho. You don't say psycho, but you say psycho. And it's the same here with this
Phobia.
phobia, okay?
Phobia.
Phobia. So everything, now we are going to talk about phobias. So here there are various phobias that you can usually have. I mean, normal people usually have a phobia. Do you have, besides those, do you have any phobia in your life, Annalisa?
No, I don't think I have any more any phobia.
No? Anna Maria?
No.
No.
No? Anna?
Mm, nothing of this phobia in the photo.
And you, Carlo?
I think the snakes.
The what?
The snakes.
Oh, the snakes.
Snakes.
Snakes phobia. I am more on rats. Rats, they just, I feel shivering all around if I think of rats. I don't know. And you, Gabri?
No.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I think that. So let's see this. What do you think is acrophobia, glossophobia, arachnophobia, agoraphobia, and claustrophobia? Okay, let's see here and try to match them. Okay, Annalisa, read A.
Allora, people with this phobia are terrified of spiders. Rupert Grint, the actor who played Ron Weasley in the Harry Potter films, has this phobia. And so those is a character Ron.
So, how do you call this kind of phobia, Annalisa?
Glossophobia. Glossophobia.
Gloss? No. I think,
Arachno.
yeah, I think it's a
Ah, ma
arachnophobia.
spider, ero
Yeah,
convinta fosse
spiders.
spider. Sì, sì,
Yeah.
aracnofobia, certo.
Yes, yes. Where is
Sì, ho letto una cosa per
Sorry.
un'altra, scusate. Aracnofobia.
Okay. Anna Maria, B.
This phobia can have several effects on
Severe effect. Yes.
on sufferers' lives.
Yes.
These people are frightened of being in open and public space, like shops and busy streets.
Busy streets.
They
Yes.
often feel panic when they go out and only feel safe at home.
Do you know which one is?
Allora, acrofobia?
No, I
No.
think it's agoraphobia. Agoraphobia, because it's the Greek place, open space means agora
Ancora.
in
Mhm.
Greek. So it's to be afraid of open spaces. So agoraphobia.
The opposite of claustrophobia.
It should be the opposite, Anna. So read see if it's the one that you mean.
People with this phobia are afraid of being in closed space, like lifts, or traveling on the underground. This phobia can make life very difficult for people who live and work in cities. Claustrophobia.
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 Okay, Gabri is D.
People who suffer from this phobia are scared of heights and they get very nervous if they have to go up high, for example, on a ski lift, or if they are on a balcony on the 20th floor.
Yes.
Acrophobia.
Acrophobia. And Carlo, last one. E.
Okay. People with this phobia suffer from a fear of public speaking. They get very nervous if they have to speak in front of other people, for example, at work or in a class or at a conference. The actor Harrison Ford has been afraid of public speaking all his life. He even gets nervous when a character in a film he is making has to make a speech.
Yeah, that's a strange one. So that is
glossophobia.
I think, yes, it's glossophobia. Glossophobia. Yes. Hi, Elena. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. I apologize. Sorry.
So now let's see how we use the word afraid. So the noun from the adjective afraid is fear. So you are afraid and the noun is fear. Then one adjective which means very afraid is terrified, and two synonyms for afraid are frightened or scared. Okay, remember that is afraid of. When you are afraid, you're afraid of, always with the two letters of together. Okay, So this is the various way. Okay. You were telling something? Okay. Okay, now we are going to listen to 3 people talking about their phobias. And you have to answer question 1 for each person. So the first one we have to understand. Try to do with your first listening if you can. Otherwise, we are going to listen to it twice or 3 times if needed. So, what is or she is afraid of? When did it start? And how does it affect his or her life? You can take down notes, you can just think of them as you prefer, but there are 3 people and you have to answer 3 questions each. Okay?
Okay.
I let you listen all 3 people together at once. Then I stop, and if it's needed, we listen to it again one by one. Ecco. Se oggi mi abbandona anche il computer sono morta.
4.20. 1.
Do you have any phobias?
Yes. I'm terrified of bats.
Really? How long have you had the phobia?
I've had it for about 40 years. Since I was 12 years old. At my school, we had a swimming pool, and the changing rooms were in an old building near the pool. On the first day at school, our teacher told us that there were bats in there, and that we shouldn't move around too much as they might start flying around and get into our hair. She also said we mustn't turn the lights on, because this would wake up the bats. We had to change as quickly and quietly as possible.
Did a bat ever fly into your hair?
No, nothing ever happened. But I was terrified just at the thought of it.
Does it affect your life at all?
Yes. I often feel very nervous or start to panic if I'm outside when it's beginning to get dark, which is when bats appear. If I'm sitting in my garden in the evening, I always have a tennis racket, so if a bat flies near me, I can protect myself. And I can't watch a TV documentary about bats, or even look at them in photos.
2.
Do you have any phobias?
Yes, I get very bad claustrophobia.
How long have you had the phobia?
It just started one morning about 10 years ago. I was going to work on the train, and it was very crowded. I started thinking that if there were an accident, I'd never get out. I had a panic attack, and I sort of felt my heart beating very quickly. I had to get off the train.
How does your phobia affect your life?
Well, I can't travel on crowded trains. I never ever travel on the underground because my worst nightmare would be if the train stopped in the tunnel. I also try to avoid lifts. What else? Oh, yes, if I'm flying, I must have an aisle seat. I can't sit by the window.
3.
Do you have any phobias?
Yes, I have a pretty unusual phobia. I'm scared of clowns.
Clowns? Really? How long have you had it?
I've had it for a long time, since I was a child.
How did it start?
Well, I remember I went on a school trip to the circus when I was 6 or 7 years old, and there were clowns. I thought they were sort of stupid, but I wasn't really afraid of them. Then I went to a birthday party, and there were clowns, and they were showing us how to paint our faces, and I found I didn't like being near them. At first, I just didn't like them. But over the years, my feelings have changed to fear.
Does your phobia affect your life at all?
Not really, because luckily I don't see clowns very often.
Okay. So let's see if you remember. Annalisa, what
Sì.
is the first one was a lady, I think. Yes, it was a lady. What is she afraid of?
Bugs.
Bats. 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 Okay. Bats. And do you get even when did it start?
When he was 14 years old.
When she was 14.
14.
When she was 14.
He was 14.
And how does it affect her life?
She was when she see bats, she is very nervous. She panic.
Yeah, she's going to panic.
Panic.
Yeah. So, did you get anybody else got how this is affecting their life? Because the bats usually just if you get into some root.
Can travel with underground. Underground is not a good.
Yes, underground or in a cavern. If she's get into a cavern, some places like this, she's afraid of. Because otherwise, usually bats are not.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Paola. We are talking about the first person.
The first, yes, not yet the second one.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. Oh, okay. We are going to do another kind of exercise afterward. And number 2, Gabri, what is he afraid of?
He is afraid of claustrophobia.
Yes, he suffers of claustrophobia. So he's afraid of
closed ambient,
yes.
In particular train. They started 10 years ago.
Yes.
While he was in the train, and he thought that it was an accident. He couldn't go
And they
away.
stopped on the ground, yes. That was you meant, Elena, probably. Yeah. That it was starting and how long was
So
it?
he doesn't take underground.
Underground and what else?
Play.
Play when no? He do something, does something
when he take the plane, he take an aisle seat. An
aisle sit. Because this is a strange pronunciation of a word, because you probably know how it's written. This is A-I-S-L-E, but you don't pronounce the S, is ale. Yes, ale. That even is the same word that you found when you are, for example, in a supermarket, the ale of the supermarket. Okay. Ale. And so the underground, yes. And another thing that it doesn't go. Lift. Very good. Remember, lift is the British word, whilst in American English they call them elevator. Okay, elevator is not British, so it doesn't exist.
Tunnel.
I beg your pardon?
Tunnel.
The tunnel.
Tunnel.
Yes, even in tunnel. Yes, very good. Okay, and Elena, number 3, what is he afraid of? Or she is a lady. Yeah.
She is afraid of clowns.
Clowns. Yes. And when did it start?
When she was child, when she was 6 or 7 years old.
Yeah.
I understood she was by a bird party, and the clowns was
Scary.
not beautiful, a surprise
Yes.
for her, and this it is not it does not affect her life.
Yeah,
No,
because you
no,
can
no.
avoid clowns,
affect
actually.
her life.
Yes. And Carlo, here is asking, which person do you think is the most affected by their phobia? Of the three, of course.
The second one with the
Second one.
problems with the crowded trains and the undergrounds.
Yeah, definitely.
I think so.
Yeah.
But the third person, I think, had not the clown, but a joker in front of it.
A joker, yeah. So a scary clown. But this of the clowns is not the first time that I hear about it, because sometimes they are too much, too aggressive, since they
I
weigh.
agree. I don't like
You don't like clowns?
No, certainly.
I found that just a bit sad, actually, but I like them because I think poor people, they are artists, and probably they enjoy. I know personally some clowns and they are fantastic people, but it depends, because now even the tradition has changed a lot from what it was in the past. Do you know anyone that have a phobia, a real bad phobia? Any of you?
My husband don't like spiders, but
Oh, spiders.
Spiders.
He's a bit afraid, so.
Yes.
Yeah. But big phobias, actually, when it's a phobia, is getting into an illness, yes, a disease. So now I think that you understand more or less everything. What we can do, the exercise, because I was listening here to Gabri and some of you that you were missing some little parts. At your level, I'm glad to notice that you can get the whole meaning when they speak. Probably you don't get just some little detail, but it doesn't matter. But nevertheless, we want to know more. So I'm going to let you listen again to these three people by reading what they are saying this time, okay? I put it here and I open the script.
4.20. 1.
Do you have any phobias?
Yes. I'm terrified of bats.
Really? How long have you had the phobia?
I've had it for about 40 years. Since I was 12 years old. At my school, we had a swimming pool, and the changing rooms were in an old building near the pool. On the first day at school, our teacher told us that there were bats in there, and that we shouldn't move around too much, as they might start flying around and get into our hair. She also said we mustn't turn the lights on, because this would wake up the bats. We had to change as quickly and quietly as possible.
Did a bat ever fly into your hair?
No, nothing ever happened. But I was terrified just at the thought of it.
Does it affect your life at all?
Yes. I often feel very nervous or start to panic if I'm outside when it's beginning to get dark, which is when bats appear. If I'm sitting in my garden in the evening, I always have a tennis racket, so if a bat flies near me, I can protect myself. And I can't watch a TV documentary about bats, or even look at them in photos.
2.
Do you have any phobias?
Yes, I get very bad claustrophobia.
How long have you had the phobia?
It just started one morning about 10 years ago. I was going to work on the train, and it was very crowded. I started thinking that if there were an accident, I'd never get out. I had a panic attack, and I sort of felt my heart beating very quickly. I had to get off the train.
How does your phobia affect your life?
Well, I can't travel on crowded trains. I never ever travel on the underground because my worst nightmare would be if the train stopped in the tunnel. I also try to avoid lifts. What else? Oh, yes, if I'm flying, I must have an aisle seat. I can't sit by the window.
3.
Do you have any phobias?
Yes, I have a pretty unusual phobia. I'm scared of clowns.
Clowns? Really? How long have you had it?
I've had it for a long time, since I was a child.
How did it start?
Well, I remember I went on a school trip to the circus when I was 6 or 7 years old, and there were clowns. I thought they were sort of stupid, but I wasn't really afraid of them. Then I went to a birthday party, and there were clowns, and they were showing us how to paint our faces, and I found I didn't like being near them. At first, I just didn't like them, but over the years, my feelings have changed to fear.
Does your phobia affect your life at all?
Not really, because luckily I don't see clowns very often.
Okay, so even the words that were cloudy, now they are clear, I think. Okay, so let's get to this, the first interview. We have, how long have you had this phobia? I've had it for about 40 years, since I was 12 years old. Okay, so the rule for for and sis, the text that we use to talk about something that started in the past and is still true now is the present perfect. Perfect usually is connected to the past. So when you read perfect in a tense is a past tense anyway, a kind of past tense, and present perfect should give you a ring and tell you what is it about. So it's actually a verb that we use to talk about something that started in the past and is still true now. Okay, here if we make the comparison with the past simple, we see the past simple is something happened in the past, the action has finished and the time has finished too. So this is the past simple. Everything is finished. When we have the present perfect, there's something still connected to the present. Okay, let's get into our grammar bank and see the present perfect and for and since. For and since are giving us another ring to recognize this tense because they are telling us how long this thing has been going on from the past up to now, or they give us the moment when it started, since. For is the period of time, since is the moment when everything was starting. So let's get in to page 142 and we see the present perfect with for or since. That is actually the most common way of using the present perfect.
4.21.
Where do you live now?
In Manchester.
How long have you lived there?
I've lived there for 20 years.
Okay, so you see, you use the present perfect plus 4 or since to talk about actions and states which started in the past and are still true now. I've lived in Manchester for 20 years means that I came to live in Manchester 20 years ago and I live in Manchester now. I still live there. Okay, I have lived for.
I've lived there for 20 years.
Where do you work?
In a primary school.
How long have you worked there?
I've worked there since 2005.
Okay, here again we have since. Okay. How long have you worked there? I've worked there since 2005. That both means that I'm still doing that. So I can, it's my choice to say whether the period of time, the long, like here, 10 years, 20 years, sorry, or the moment where I started to do that. Okay, so we use for and plus a period of time for 2 weeks, for 10 years, for a long time, for 3 months, and since with the beginning of a period of time, so since 1980, since last June, since I was a child, so since connected to a moment that can be showed with a date or with another period, last June for example, or with an action that is just identify the right moment where the action started. Okay, so let's get and try to use. Now we do question with how long and the present perfect. So we have the, of course, the question that we have to ask with the subject and be married, the verb. So you be married. How long have you been married? Okay, I'm trying to give here, they're not telling you to do so, I'm telling you to give an answer that of course has not to be true, but any kind of answer. For example, here, how long have you been married? I've been married for 25 years. It is here, that is true actually. Okay. Even if I discovered just on the day, okay, that is another matter, another story, because I forgot my anniversary, but never mind. Okay, Annalisa, let's start to number 1.
Allora, how long have you been frightened of clowns? Devo dare anche la risposta,
yes,
giusto?
an answer, any answer.
Since my first birthday party.
Since my first birthday party, very good. Anna Maria, number 2.
Allora, number 2, your sister, questa?
Yes.
Allora,
here is not you, it's your sister. Always starting with how long.
Allora, dunque.
So remember, how is formed the present perfect? You always have the verb to have, that can be have or has, depending on the person, and the past participle of the been. How long have you been married? Because it's be married. And here as well is be frightened. Okay, but it could be even a normal tense where we just put the past participle. Here we have to just use the be fragment.
Mhm. Your sister have her car. La tua sorella, la sua
Be
macchina,
careful.
giusto?
Yes, yes.
Quindi,
Yes, but be careful because here have is the verb that is showing us the possession. So let's say that is the action verb. But we have to use another have that is the one of the present perfect. Per cui,
yes. Quindi,
so how long?
Quindi devo fare una domanda, non avevo capito
Certo,
questo.
la domanda.
Quindi, how long have
Attenta, non è have perché è your sister.
have had
No.
no, did. No.
Be careful. Allora, qui è have perché è you. Qui è your
Esatto.
sister, per cui she non sarà have, ma sarà has.
Has, no had, giusto?
Ma io
Vedi
non
quando
lo
non fai le cose da
so.
vario tempo?
Sì,
Dunque,
è un pochino che non si vedeva.
how long has your sister
E adesso il participio passato di have, che è have, had, had.
quindi
Avuto.
have had?
Sì,
No.
had
her car?
Esatto. How long has your
How long
sister
has your
had her
sister
car?
had a
È un po'
car?
intricato con tutti queste H, questi have had, però è semplicemente un present perfect. How long has your sister had her car? Had, lo so, la pronuncia poi quando lo senti. Ok, molto brava, bene. Anna, number 3.
How long have you lived here?
How long have you lived here? Yes. Carlo, number 4.
How long had your dad been a teacher?
Okay, be careful with the first is your dad. So like number 2, you have to use has because it's third person. Okay, how long has your dad been a teacher? Very good.
Scusami, sulla 3
Yes.
avrei potuto dire since.
Ah, non abbiamo risposto, giusto, hai ragione.
Ah, non abbiamo risposto, giusto.
Mi ero prolungata.
No, fammi la domanda, io posso
How long?
Allora devi dire since, lo puoi dire, ma puoi dire since when have you lived here? Because in this case, I want to know the moment when you started to go there, to live there. Okay? So I can ask since when?
How long?
In quale punto preciso voglio sapere, no? Ok, scusa Anna Maria, allora torniamo a te. How long have you lived here? Come potresti rispondere?
Io
No, Anna, questo era...
I have lived here for 20 years.
I have lived here for 20 years. E Anna Maria invece, how long has your sister had her car? Puoi rispondere in che modo?
She have the car since 28.
Since
Io sono dal 2008 perché no.
Okay, 2008. But you have to say she has had the car since 2008.
Okay.
Okay, and okay, Carlo, number 4. How long has your dad been a teacher?
He as a teacher since 2023.
Okay, he has been a teacher since any day. Okay, this is nice because it's obsolete, this one. Number 6, Elena.
No, 5.
Oh, 5, okay.
It's very important.
5.
Yeah.
How long has you knew is the knew your boyfriend?
Okay, be careful with the tense. How long have
Yes, of course.
you?
How long have you knew your boyfriend?
No, it's not new because the irregular verb is no, new, known. Known.
No.
How long have you known your boyfriend? And the answer
How
is
long have you known your your boyfriend? I have know
yes
my boyfriend since 20 years.
No? If you say 20
Since-
years, you have to say
no. Four. Yes, sorry, oggi non azzecco una. For 20 years.
For 20 years, that's good.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Gabby, Britain.
How long?
Short time, actually.
How long Britain been? How long Britain
Has.
okay, just a minute. How long has been Britain in the Europe?
How long has Britain been in the Euro? Yes, in the European Union.
Britain.
Not the Britain. Britain.
Britain has been in the EU.
Has been in the EU
For, I don't know,
for
10 years.
maybe 20 years, 30. Maybe less, yes, because they, I don't know how long actually.
More or less.
Yes,
50.
because they finish now, but I don't know when they started.
When it started.
Yeah, I don't know when they started actually.
Not for long.
Yes, okay. Annalisa, number 7. That's for
Allora,
you.
how long have you had your cat?
Very good.
I have had my cat.
I have had.
I have had my cat since 20
13.
13.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
And Anna, number 8.
How long has he worked for the same company? He has worked for the same company for 10 years.
Very good. Okay, so let's get into this that is the same as the present perfect alone. Just questo vediamo. Allora, vediamo come si forma nel dettaglio questo present perfect. Per cui abbiamo I have plus past participle of main verb. Per cui I have seen that film with the contraction I've seen that film e naturalmente diventa, eccolo, andato troppo indietro, aspettate che torno indietro. Ok, eccolo qua. That film con la has alla terza persona che va naturalmente contratto. Attenzione perché questo apostrofo s vi può confondere with a verb to be. It's not to be, this is to have at the third person. She's seen that film vuol dire che lei ha visto. Ricordatevi che un errore che viene fatto spesso da studenti italiani è cambiare l'ausiliare in avere o in essere, così come facciamo in italiano. No, con il present perfect è sempre avere, non si può cambiare l'ausiliare, per cui è proprio il classico io ho stato, per questo. Ma voi penso che ormai siete un gradino oltre la traduzione immediata. Poi, ecco qui, quando abbiamo la negazione, abbiamo I have not diventa I haven't seen the film. He has not diventa he hasn't seen that film. L'interrogativa del present perfect. Avendo have come ausiliare non facciamo altro che fare lo switch. Have you seen that film? Have we seen that film? Has he seen that film? Sempre tenendo esattamente gli stessi tempi come li abbiamo utilizzati, solo facendo lo switch con l'ausiliare. Yes, risposta breve, yes I have, yes he has, per cui anche qui come sapete la risposta breve va a prendere l'ausiliare della domanda sempre, o al negativo, no I haven't, no he hasn't. Per cui past participle of regular verbs are the same as the past simple al regular, like, non dovete aggiungere nessuna competenza in più, want, wanted, wanted. Naturalmente questo non accade agli irregular. Avete visto, domenica vi ho mandato la lista dei verbi irregolari perché proprio in virtù del fatto che andiamo ad utilizzare un po' di più il present perfect, dobbiamo rivedere un po' i verbi irregolari. Finora li avevamo utilizzati principalmente usando la famosa colonna centrale che è quella del past simple. Adesso andiamo al participio passato che da solo, al contrario del past simple, non è un verbo, ma è sempre una parte di un verbo, il participio passato. Non lo troviamo mai da solo, ma sempre nei verbi composti, mentre invece il past simple già da solo è un verbo. Per cui abbiamo ad esempio, qui ci mette due verbi regolari qualsiasi, anzi non qualsiasi perché sono un po' particolari, che abbiamo read, 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 che anche se è scritto tutto uguale ha due pronunce diverse, read, 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 e il verbo vedere, see, saw, seen, ok? E questo è quello che riguarda il present perfect. Lo step successivo sarà riuscire a capire la differenza tra il past simple e il present perfect. Facciamo attenzione perché anche qui gli studenti italiani tendono un po' a sovrastimare il present perfect. Perché? Perché noi in italiano di fatto non utilizziamo più il passato remoto. È diventato un verbo obsoleto, anche se è un verbo corretto, ma non viene più utilizzato. presente, mentre invece in inglese quello che corrisponde, diciamo, al nostro passato remoto, che sarebbe il past simple, è comunque la forma di past più utilizzata in assoluto. Ricordiamoci proprio la differenza. Questo passato prossimo può dire che questo present perfect assomiglia nell'idea e nella formazione al passato prossimo, ma non dobbiamo mai fare un parallelo perché chiaramente viene utilizzato in modi e in tempi ben diversi. Torniamo al nostro, che credo che qua non ve l'ho condiviso, alla nostra pagina del libro, dove invece utilizziamo adesso for o since. Queste sono le risposte della prima domanda, della prima parte, ma qui ci interessano solo le risposte, per cui comunque la vediamo, ci andiamo a vedere le domande qui, e qui dovete però utilizzare for o since. Per cui alla domanda, faccio un po' più piccolo così le vediamo bene tutte e due, alla domanda how long have you been married? I've been married for 20 years. Ok, qui ci dà i momenti e noi dobbiamo utilizzare for o since a seconda dei casi. Vai Annalisa.
Allora,
Era quella dei clowns.
sì, è possibile anche ingrandirla un po', vista la mia cicagna.
Sì, considera che devo spostarmi però se ingrandisco, eh? Se non mi viene
Ok.
mal di mare io lo faccio volentieri. Ok, questo era
Allora,
how long have you been frightened of clowns? La risposta sarà
allora, aspetta che lo vedo da qui. I have been frightened of clowns since
te lo dice
no,
qui.
for 3 years. No, since I was a child. Since I was a child.
Perfetto. Anna Maria, qui la domanda era how long has your sister had her car? Had her car?
Yes. Quindi she's had her car for 3 years.
Perfect. Yes. She is, because it's the contractions of she has had her car for 3 years. Anna.
I have had, sorry, I have lived here for a long time.
For a long time, yes. Carlo, this is the dad. How long has your dad been
He has
teacher?
had teacher since 99, I don't see.
1990.
99.
Yes, he has been a teacher since 1990. Yes. Then 5, Elena.
How long have you know your boyfriend? I have known him.
Known him.
I have known him since May.
Since May, since. Lo so che è una strana pronuncia e tu non avresti torto nel dire since perché in inglese sarebbe più logico, ma la logica la lasciamo alla lingua tedesca perché purtroppo...
Questo è Zeit, niente, non riesco a dire since, capito? Perché
Guarda,
la stessa parola.
ci sono certe parole che alcune persone non riescono proprio a scardinarle, hanno un errore in testa, ma io stessa, anche in italiano. Io in italiano ho degli accenti, poi mi prendono in giro tutti perché mi dicono che sbaglio, io sbaglio tantissimi accenti in italiano, da icona invece di icona. Poi aspettate, ogni tanto me ne dico una, c'è una mia amica, Giovanna, che mi prende sempre in giro perché io ogni tanto sbaglio degli accenti e non lo so da che mi è dato questo, non ho idea. Io credo che il problema sia dato dal fatto che noi acquisiamo alcune parole prima per scritto, le leggiamo quando ancora non le abbiamo mai sentite. E con la lingua inglese capita molto spesso perché tra l'altro negli antichi metodi si faceva tanta lettura ma pochi ascolti e poco parlato, per cui noi andavamo ad acquisire quello che leggevamo come meglio credevamo fosse e purtroppo con le eccezioni fonetiche in inglese si sbaglia sovente. Ok, 6 eravamo con Gabri.
Allora, it has been
Ecco, vedi, ce lo dice.
since 1973.
So it was since 1973. So if I ask you for how long?
For how long? It was.
So if for how long? Tell me the period of time that Britain stayed in the UA,
Okay,
the
it
EU.
was 4.
It was for how many years? 73?
73?
83? And 30 years?
40 years.
40 years. 40 years. Almost 40 years. Yes. And now they left. Okay. Annalisa, scusa.
Allora, we have had our cats for about 2 years.
For about 2 years. And last one, Anna?
He work...
scusa.
No, vai, te la volevo dire, pensavo che non la sapevi la domanda.
He's worked for the same company.
Worked.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Since 2008.
2008, yes. Quando i primi 10 anni del 2000, invece di dividerlo a metà, di solito si dice 2000, ma solo i primi 10 anni. Già quando incominciano a diventare 2013, 2011 e 12, diciamo 2012, 2011, eccetera. Però è proprio perché si può prestare a un fraintendimento se diciamo 20, come fai a dire 28? 28 sembra 28. O 2008 non va bene perché lo zero non ci andrebbe, per cui proprio quando ci sono quei due zeri vicino, altrimenti diciamo sempre possiamo dividere le date in due parti. Ok, tu vai che hai il tuo studente, grazie Gabri, bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Qua tuona, non so se li sentite.
Cosa?
Sta tuonando qua, non so se sentite i
tuonando?
tuoni.
Ah, qui c'è un sole, fa 26 gradi.
Qua inizia il tempo.
Vabbè, ma tu sei sai ai confini della realtà oltre che ai confini
Esatto.
Tu stai a Milano? Ma che
No,
vuoi?
non sono a Milano, sono in
stai in Friuli, è ancora più lontano.
Ah, sei in Friuli adesso?
sì.
Già sei nata in Friuli.
È quasi al confine, insomma, è più vicino al confine che al resto del...
Ah sì, al confine qua ci sono 50 chilometri neanche. Con l'Austria e la Jugoslavia.
Ok ragazzi,
Va bene.
allora, because sorry for my delay today.
No problem.
And see you next time. Bye bye.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Ciao.